have beef with someone's grandma. It's 2026. I know we're only 2 weeks in. I've managed to avoid drama with anybody thus far, but I am officially actually kind of pissed off. However, this is a fight I can't win because the grandma in question is not a real human being. Hi, I'm D'Angelo. This video is about fake people, real problems, and just the complete devolution of virtual influencers. People are asking me about the grandma. Yeah, no, this is an AI grandma who I personally feel like is infringing on my whole bag right now. But we're gonna get to her at the end of this video, which is a more general sort of reflection on how like AI influencers are surging in popularity right now. And not only do I think it's making things worse for influencers, obviously, I think it's making things worse for everybody. Who remembers Lil Miquela? Because if y'all think that AI influencers are new, y'all must be new to this whole influencer thing. I used to think that Lil Miquela was pretty cool. Now, granted, this was in 2016 when I was a teenager. So that is important context. This isn't something that I would think is cool today. I was just being influenced. So Lil Miquela is actually literally still kicking somehow. But she was making the rounds ever since she debuted in 2016. Popped off, I feel like, a couple years later, and everyone was like, oh my God, she has followers, but she's not real. Whatever will we do? The weird thing was, Lil Miquela was getting a bag for some reason. I don't know why companies are, well, I do know why companies are so eager to embrace this, because when you do things like this, you don't have to pay real people. And not paying real people is actually a really important core value for a lot of companies, right? So she was doing stuff with Prada, if I remember correctly, like all these fashion type things, but Lil Miquela was problematic from jump. Okay, when I was researching this video, I didn't even realize this. The people who do this sort of virtual influencer thing are typically so unscrupulous. So yeah, even years ago, virtual influencer Lil Miquela criticized for quote unquote ignorant sexual assault vlog. When you have the robots, this wasn't AI, this was just CGI, but when you have like the fake person doing a vlog telling you like, oh, haha, I was like assaulted in an Uber, you have to question the people who are behind this. Like, I find it very, very off-putting to profit off of things that are real about people or things that do really happen to people and present it in a format that is bordering on parody. It's just strange. Speaking of which, watching this back makes me feel like I'm in a fever dream.
I deserved a day for myself, and if you follow me on Insta, you know how sacred the beach is to me. There's something about being around a bunch of half-naked people that brings me peace. Or turns me on, whatever. Disclaimer, yes, I can get wet, so no need to go off about it in the comments.
A video in which the robot is telling me, yes, I can get wet, I don't think is the appropriate media to also contain a fake sexual assault story in the back of an Uber. If this is not telling you that there's something very deeply off with the tone here, I don't know what else will.
His hand literally lingers there, rubbing my skin. I, of course, was like, curb your enthusiasm, and asked him to stop. And he took his sweet-ass time removing his hand.
Quite enough of that. But yeah, that's sort of my first main point, which is that, like, the people behind these things have never been good people. And even though I feel like it's definitely interesting to talk about, it raises so many problems that are just completely unaddressed. Someone said, why did her team make that? Bro, because they don't care. You're asking a really good question. Because they don't care. As long as we are talking about the robots, then they are winning, essentially, which makes this entire video feel stupid. But I have to remind myself, I have a point. I have a point that I'm trying to make here. This video is from 2019, right? It's gotten bad now because at least when this was happening, it was something that still needed artists, right? As much as I'm not a big fan of Lil Miquela, this was something that somebody created. And I do believe CGI artwork is artwork, right? Yes, it is definitely strange to do this, but I feel like there's such a marked difference between having to put some sort of effort in and then essentially creating something that is still not supposed to be real, right? If you compare that to what the virtual influencers are looking like today, it's a little scary. We've come so far. This is so creepy. That this is sort of where we've gone with the virtual influencer direction. And so no longer is it trying to create artwork, trying to make something that makes sense. You just have people typing things up, typing up prompts, and running entire Instagram accounts. It's so uncanny, so uncomfortable to look at. And then what I think makes it super, super annoying is for some reason, the press just like bends over backwards to glaze AI influencers. Influencer Mia Zello went viral at Wimbledon with one catch. She's AI. This influencer's going viral at Wimbledon. No, she's not going viral at Wimbledon because actually, the photo in question literally has 16,000 likes. I shouldn't have to be the one to tell you that that's not called going viral because you were at Wimbledon. That's called someone generated an image, some people online hit the like button, probably the vast majority of which not realizing that this is not a real person. And then for some reason, a bunch of news outlets, I mean, granted, not exactly ones that we're out here trusting, like The Independent, for example, ran with this. Oh, someone brought up Tilly Norwood. Yeah, when you have like these AI actors, which have agents that we are trying to make a real thing, I also found a lot of the discussion around this Norwood character, avatar, entity to be forced as well. Also, when I was researching, I saw this one article headline that embarrassed me so much. This is the New York Post. And I'm sorry, this is like me pointing at a landfill and being like, oh my gosh, there's trash in there. But sexy influencer takes Wimbledon by storm, leaves athletes drooling. But there's a big catch. She's AI. The New York Post essentially just going awooga at some pixels. I'm trying to let y'all know things are a little bit different than they were in 2019. We're not playing with the same building blocks here. Things are weird. Someone said the New York Post article is probably AI generated too. Hold on, that's a whole other topic. I have clicked into so many articles from mainstream sources where I can tell that y'all are running this through AI filters. I don't think that the vast majority of content that I see in like mainstream news articles is maybe generated by AI because AI can't be topical. But I get that weird AI ick so often now, just reading text where I'm just like, this is so painful. The AI cinematic universe needs to end. But unfortunately, if it was just a case where like people are still talking about this, blah, 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 I wouldn't really be turning this into a whole video. What I'm kind of getting at is like, this content is working a lot better than it used to. We have this BBC article. This is what really put the story on my radar. Both these influencers are successful, but only one is human. Initially, I feel like when this AI thing was popping off, there was like no competition between Lil Miquela and an actual influencer, especially not like a smaller influencer. It wasn't supposed to be the same thing. But I feel like now that you are supposed to not be able to tell who is real anymore, things are just going into a really strange direction. So the BBC says, in some ways, Gigi is like any other young social media influencer. With perfect hair and makeup, she logs on and talks to her fans. But after a few seconds, something may seem a little off. She can munch on pizza made out of molten lava or apply snowflakes and cotton candy as lip gloss. Her hands sometimes pass through what she's holding. That's because Gigi isn't real. She's the AI creation of University of Illinois student Simone McKenzie, who needed to make some money over the summer. Now, I don't blame a university student for needing to make money over the summer. I really do hope that that's not how this is about to come across. I just feel like back in my day, when you needed to make some money and you thought you could do it online, you did so by trying to create good content, right? In 2018, maybe, is when my YouTube career started. When I told myself like, hey, I actually could use some money too, because this whole university thing is running out for me. I bet I can get a bag on the internet by creating things that people actually want to watch, that feature me and my creativity. I find it really sad now that people are just thinking to themselves like, oh yeah, I can literally just type up some prompts and spit something out and people will watch it. I remember a couple years ago when people were freaking out because everybody wanted to be an influencer, but now the kids don't even want to be influencers. They literally just want content to post, which is so unfortunate. Miss McKenzie, 21, is part of a fast-growing cohort of digital creators who churn out a stream of videos by entering simple prompts into AI chatbots. Its creators are finding considerable success. One video made me $1,600 in just 4 days, Miss McKenzie said. I was like, okay, let me keep doing this. I've talked about this before, but when it comes to AI ads that are running on AI content, I literally feel like advertisers are just throwing their money away because the average person, and we're going to get into that later in the video, the average person literally watches AI content with their eyes closed. After 2 months, Gigi had millions of views, making Miss McKenzie thousands through TikTok's Creator Fund, a program that pays creators based on how many views they get. But she's far from the only person using AI to reach easy virality. One thing I do like about this article is that it doesn't just glaze AI. Obviously, my tab of everybody just talking about Mia Zelu. Oh my gosh, she's so hot. We're so excited about this. I prefer to also think about the people who this is affecting. And so this one talks about how it's not feasible for human influencers like Kavya Sambasavam, 26, who has around 1.3 million followers across multiple platforms. Now, it's a hard ask to say, hey, let's feel sorry for people who have 1 million Instagram followers and are complaining about not being able to make as much money as other people. However, I still think it's a pretty human and universal thing to be like, actually, I just find it really uncool that I'm being phased out by people making robot pictures. This is the sort of thing that happens on the scale with everybody. It's just less visible, right? Influencers getting phased out by AI, we're going to complain about it. We're going to be really annoying. And as influencers do, we're going to try to make it your problem. Copywriters, for example, getting phased out by AI, you're not going to find as many BBC articles about this, right? You're not going to find as many YouTube videos about how actually there are so many jobs and there are so many people who weren't popular or famous to begin with that are experiencing this exact same thing. So if anything, I really don't want you to come away just feeling like, oh, I only care about this because they're taking my job or whatever. First of all, y'all will never take my job. Y'all can't generate anything as annoying as me. You could try, but it would never work. And secondly, this sucks for everybody. It just sucks. So anyway, the influencer they interviewed says, it bears the question, is this going to be something that we can outcompete? Because I am a human. My output is limited. Ms. Sambasavam, who is based in North Carolina, said, there are months where I will be down in the dumps and I'll just post the bare minimum. I can't compete with robots. That's the thing. None of us can compete with robots. This might be a surprise to some of y'all. One time I went 14 months without posting a video online. Does anybody remember that? Because it just ended 2 weeks ago. The idea that like I have to think to myself, oh, well, I can't ever stop creating things because like somebody is going to be able to infinitely generate content to fill a hole in the market that I was trying to put out. I find it to be pretty off-putting. Someone said I look at the account, spot it, report it, and block it. Yeah, at this point, it's the best way of quote unquote engaging with AI content, because if you are not saying that you're not interested in it or you're not preventing it, you know, from showing up on your feed or whatever, this is how people are passively making so much money off of this. And obviously if you are passively making $1,600 because you type some stuff up, like it's incentivizing a proliferation of this content that is objectively making the platform worse. Objectively, but also in my opinion. But I feel like we can all agree on this one little point. It's not just that people feel like we can't compete in terms of like putting out as much content as the robots can. It's also just like when brands start giving out deals to AI generated pictures and stuff, because it's cheaper. You have this article from the New York Times. These travel influencers don't want freebies. They're AI. And this article and the vast majority of the ones I'm looking at are literally just from the last couple months. It's ramping up. They're kind of talking about how you have these fake travel influencers like Radhika over here, who we don't need to get into. If you have seen one AI generated, conventionally attractive person, I think you have seen them all, right? And real travel influencers are saying they're seeing brands essentially cut back on the things that they would be commissioning earlier. Also, this is not related, but this is one of the coolest pictures I've ever seen. I feel like, hold on, we need to get into this, because if there's one thing that I'm never going to do, it's pass up an opportunity to appreciate drip. Game recognized game. This is why y'all can never beat us. Y'all being AI, us being human beings. Y'all are never, ever, ever going to look this cool. I feel like that's the thing. I don't want to see like, where was Radhika? I don't want to see this because this isn't real and you can see this anywhere. I want to see people. I want to see people who are individuals. And I can't believe that's actually too much to ask for now on today's modern web. Anyways, I just kind of want to look a little bit more at the behaviors behind people who are consuming AI content. So you've got this Fortune article. This 22-year-old college dropout is making $700,000 a year from quote unquote AI slop videos that people sleep through. And I cannot stress enough, no one is actually watching this. Or if they are watching it, the definition of watching has been twisted. It's not the same thing that you're doing right now. I'm not expecting you to be engaging with this video on the level of a college thesis. If you do somehow see that much social utility in the things that I'm saying, that's you being smart, not me. I'm just making silly things about things that interest me. However, I would like to believe that y'all are at least awake. I don't think that I'm talking to a live chat of people who are actually generally just zoned out. Now, I know a lot of y'all are crocheting. I know a lot of y'all are doing other things. Y'all are chilling with your cat. Y'all are doing whatever it is. I'm very much okay with being on in the background. However, the thought that no one is even actually listening to me or the things that I'm saying, I'm not even sure how you can feel like you're having fun creating this content. But again, if you're making $700,000 a year, I don't think fun is really part of it, y'all. It says, since dropping out of Mississippi State University in 2020, the 22-year-old has built a thriving content creation business out of what has come to be called slop, the high volume AI generated background noise that thrives in the gaps of the attention economy. And listen, I have to give Fortune this one little kudo. Can kudo be singular? You know how you give people kudos? Can I give them one kudo or even half a kudo? Thriving in the gaps of the attention economy is exactly how I would say this AI content is working. And because there is still money to be made, even from content that no one is actually consuming in the traditional sense, someone's gonna pay out. The 22-year-old has assembled a sprawling network of YouTube channels that operates as a near autonomous revenue engine, requiring only about 2 hours of his oversight a day. I just feel like this idea that you could run not one, but 5 channels with 2 hours a day. Oh man, it's hard not to feel some kind of way. I don't want y'all to feel sorry for me because I do YouTube. I don't want y'all to feel sorry for me at all. I just really want to convey to you, I feel really strongly about this emotionally. I have a useless job, but people take it really seriously because I think it makes them happy. And I know that that sounds really trite, but it's because of this that things like this I just find to be really, really off-putting. Because I feel like the fact that anybody can watch my video for any amount of time and say like, oh yeah, I enjoyed that period that I got to spend creating this, I'm going to turn around and take it really, really seriously and try not to be an awful person and put out awful content and put out brain rot that I'm not even caring about whether it's good or not, or whether it's accurate or this, that, the other, because literally anybody cares about the thing that I do. I don't think it's out of touch to say, hey, this is my job. And I'm not even the person who's the most affected by this, but I still hate this. Davis told Fortune that his network of videos generates roughly $40,000 to $60,000 a month in oh my God, wow. Someone said this article is probably not real, or he's lying about the numbers, or it's bots watching the content. It's the third one. Either he is lying to Fortune and Fortune is also lying about the money that he's making, but I don't think that's the case. It's the third thing where this money is not coming from real people watching the content. Obviously, it's in the AI company's best interest to have us all believe that we can all be making $700K a year or whatever. But let me tell you, also just being a creator and being in creator spaces, I don't think the numbers are actually as inflated as they sound. I'm aware of people who are just generating entire channels at this point because they have so many channels. That's the thing. If you pointed to one AI channel and were like, oh, hey, this is making all this money, I wouldn't believe that, right? I would be like, okay, that's probably not true. But listen, if you're telling somebody I have 5 channels and they're generating $40,000 a month, that's not really as insane as it sounds, because that's literally like $8,000 a month per channel on average. So it's not the fact that you can spin up one channel and become like an AI millionaire. There is just no limit to how much content you can create. And that is why people are making so much money. People are making buku money from AI slop. They are turning it into an entire business that brands are more willing to pay for than they are willing to pay actual people, because the machine never actually sleeps. I've talked about this on stream before, but for those who are just watching videos, I don't think y'all saw this source right here. More than 20% of videos shown to new YouTube users are AI slop. So this is actually The Guardian kind of going through this Capwing report, which funnily enough, Capwing makes AI video generation software as well. But that being said, listen, they did some good research and they came to the conclusion that if you just make a new account on the platform, in their experience, 1 out of 5 videos that you're going to get are fake. Everybody who consumes YouTube content is in a bubble, obviously. Y'all are in a commentary / drama commentary bubble, whatever you want to call it, with me here right now. And I like it here in the bubble. But when you don't go outside the bubble, it actually gets kind of hard to realize, like, the proliferation of this stuff is insane. Just because your feed, hopefully, is a little better than 1 out of 5 videos being AI. This is what YouTube is okay promoting to people who are first joining the platform. And when you're consuming this content, not knowing what it is, and the algorithm's like, oh, you're totally fine with this, it's going to start going up and up and up and up. Millions and millions of people are subscribing to these AI channels. This is happening all over the world. No, The Guardian basically is breaking down. They've done their own analysis saying that 10% of YouTube's fastest growing channels are AI slop, despite the platform's quote unquote efforts to curb inauthentic content. And don't get me started on YouTube's efforts to curb AI generated content. YouTube, if you're watching this, I love you. YouTube, if you're watching this video, which you really shouldn't be, you should be watching so many other videos that I think you should be paying a little bit more attention to, because there's some legitimately unhinged and insane content on your platform. But if you're watching this, I love you so much, but y'all are lying. y'all are definitely saying like, oh, we're gonna try not to monetize AI content, and we're gonna try to make sure that not just anybody can spin up a channel. And yeah, they are dinging the people who would be making, I think, like the least amount of money with this. However, they are simultaneously rolling out so many AI products of their own. I've mentioned this on stream before. YouTube wants to do this portraits thing. So this is a Google product, AI product, that essentially turns you into a chatbot version of yourself. Why talk to Kim Scott, life coach, when you can just talk to Kim Scott's avatar, right? They're not only getting into this stuff, but they're trying to shoehorn it. They're trying to curb the content that they feel like they don't stand to profit from. But when it comes to like, oh yeah, we want to turn all of y'all into AI versions of yourself. We want you to click into a D'Angelo video and it's some AI me on this pink background, which people already think is AI generated. YouTube is an op. Anyway, I have the final boss of AI influencers that I wanted to get into, which is this AI grandma who I am so pissed off at for essentially jacking my entire flow. She is the reason people ask me if my content or my background is AI generated. Because if you go to, what is her name? Granny Spills or whatever. Yeah, no. Look at this. Look at this. She is jacking my entire flow. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure this account existed before I did, but that doesn't matter because this account is plagiarism. she's jacking my entire flow with this pink thing because I feel like it looks so liminal and fake, and that is like why when you see something that looks like this, people are like, oh my gosh, D'Angelo left for 14 months and came back with something that looks like AI or whatever. Liminal aesthetics existed before the rise of Gen AI. And when you hear like the barely contained rage in my voice, it's not directed at you. I am never actually going to get mad at a viewer for wanting to ensure that the things they're watching are real. I am furious at AI for taking something that is a completely valid way of being and turning it into something where people just feel like they're looking at things that aren't real. Look, I'm gonna show y'all. This is my background, or this is the first version of my background. It's real ugly, but as you can see, all the things are there. We got the chair. We got the statue of David. I pointed in the wrong direction. We got the chair. We got the statue of David. We got the window in the background. I created this using a tool called Photoshop. This is a skill that some people still have. Because I've been editing thumbnails on YouTube for 7 years or whatever, I'm actually pretty decent at Photoshopping. So I was able to Photoshop this and then send it off to an actual studio. This is a whole thing that you can pay people to do. Real human beings, right? You can send them awful little mock-ups and they, using CGI tools, will actually be able to create things for you that look fairly realistic. I mean, obviously my background doesn't look exactly like something you would see in real life because I told them to make everything pink. But like, it's so annoying, I guess, that I had to, number one, rely on my skill, right? My personal skill of learning how to Photoshop things and just having an eye for things that I think would look good. Number two, I had to spend some coin. This wasn't a freebie. This came out of my pocket, but I was like, it's gonna look so cool. So I do that, and then I edit the photos that they give me to make it look even nicer in the background and kind of give that aesthetic just to get hit with the AI allegations because of people like this. So when I get mad, it ain't at y'all. It's not you. I'm mad at Granny Spills and her fake AI pink sort of weird fantasy thing that she's trying to create here. Also, mine looks cooler. That's objective. It's a fact. I will accept no arguments here that I think overall I came up with something that was a little less egregious to look at. I feel like when you look at this, it's literally just like, it's everywhere. It's all over the place. You know what I mean? Sorry, Granny. Like, this isn't even the same shade of, don't piss me off. It takes so much work to create things that people enjoy looking at. Like getting this microphone custom, mic arm custom wrapped in like this matte pink thread, just so it doesn't look super ugly and dark against the background. Like, are you kidding? I have nothing but honestly like bad things to say about Granny Spills and her 2 million followers who will never understand how much work goes into generating one picture with your brain, with your skill. One thing that I want you all to know is that this is only going to get worse as time goes on. It's actually going to get so much worse. So here you have some really strange guy trying to use AI to generate the hottest yoga pants lady, which right off the bat is very creepy. But people on Reddit are literally having to ask, like, is this even real or not? Because these are both AI generated. The one on the left is like also AI and it doesn't look it at all. I feel like the one on the right is obviously AI. Nobody looks like that at the gym, okay? Or if y'all do, drop your routine. Obviously, you're not going to have a full beat face and look super glowy and like you just finished your skincare routine and all this, that, the other going on when you just finished. But the one on the left, when I tell you, it literally just looks like some lady. This is the worst thing that could have possibly happened, was that AI images stopped looking like that one. I already forgot her name. Zala, the blonde one that the New York Post was salivating over. And when it starts looking like just your average Joe, I feel like that is when we're really getting into some dicey territory. It's so creepy. I personally wouldn't even believe the left one was AI if someone hadn't said it was. I feel like, what about this actually indicates it being fake? It sucks so bad. It is so bad. But yeah, that's my happy news for you. Everything is only gonna get worse really fast. Yay? Question mark? But that being said, if I could just leave you with any advice, just block it. People cannot make $1,600 in 4 days if you're blocking their content. They cannot make $700,000 a year passively if you were just doing everything within your power to stop it from crossing your feed and to try not to give it clicks and this, that, the other. I think for the most part, I was able to get through most of this video without actually like streaming anybody's AI content in a way where they would get views from it. You know what I mean? But anyway, hopefully you never have to think about AI again, even though I know that's not the truth. But yeah, I recorded this video live right here on YouTube, where actually I stream quite a bit on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Unless I don't. In which case, I am probably just sleeping. I just didn't come to work that day. And honestly, that's on you, not me. Anyways, I hope to see you in the next streamer video. And if not, it doesn't really matter. Bye.